Nestled in the Pacific Ocean just off the coast of East Asia, lies an island nation whose story spans millennia, Japan. At first glance, it may seem like a remote archipelago, but its history is anything but isolated. From ancient stone tools to futuristic bullet trains, from samurai swords to cutting-edge robotics, Japan has continually redefined itself while leaving a profound imprint on the world. Its journey is one of dramatic contrasts, serenity and conflict, isolation and ambition, tradition and innovation. Empires have risen and fallen, cities have been built and rebuilt, and through it all, the spirit of Japan has endured. Resilient, adaptive, and ever-evolving. This is not just the story of a nation. It is the chronicle of a people who turned volcanic soil into sacred ground, who faced earthquakes, wars, and radical change, and emerged each time with a new vision of what Japan could be. This is the entire history of Japan, condensed but unforgettable. The earliest humans arrived in Japan as early as 35,000 BCE. But it's during the Jomon period, beginning around 14,000 BCE, that we see the first lasting cultural developments. The Jomon people were hunter-gatherers known for their pottery, some of the oldest in the world. Around 300 BCE, a new wave of migrants arrived from the Asian mainland. These were the Yayoi people who introduced wet rice agriculture, metal tools, and social hierarchies. This marked the beginning of more complex societies and regional power structures. By the 3rd century CE, the Yamato clan rose to prominence in central Japan. They began consolidating power, forming the basis of the Japanese state. This era is known as the Kofun period, named after the keyhole-shaped burial mounds built for the elite. The Yamato rulers claimed descent from the sun goddess Amaterasu, establishing the mythological foundation of the imperial lineage, a dynasty that continues unbroken to this day. During the Asuka period, 538 to 710, Japan underwent a dramatic transformation. Buddhism was introduced from Korea, joining native Shinto beliefs. This religious and cultural shift was paralleled by governmental reform, modeled after China's Tang dynasty. In 710, the capital moved to Nara, marking the start of the Nara period. Japan produced its first written histories, including the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki. But the real cultural flowering came during the Heian period, 794 to 1185, when the capital was relocated to Heian-kyo, modern-day Kyoto. This era saw the rise of a refined court culture. The aristocracy developed art, literature, and poetry, most famously exemplified by the Tale of Genji by Murasaki Shikibu, often regarded as the world's first novel. While the court in Kyoto enjoyed poetry and ceremony, power was shifting to the provinces. By the late 12th century, warrior clans had grown strong. The Minamoto clan, after a bitter civil war, established the Kamakura shogunate in 1292, led by Minamoto no Yoritomo. This began Japan's feudal era, where real power rested with the shogun, a military dictator, while the emperor remained a symbolic figure. The samurai class emerged as the dominant force in society. In the 14th century, the Ashikaga shogunate took control, initiating the Muromachi period. This was an age of cultural development, think No theater and Zen Buddhism, but also of instability. From the late 15th to early 17th century, Japan descended into chaos during the Sengoku period, or Warring States era. Local warlords, or daimyo, fought endlessly for power. But out of the anarchy came unification. 3 powerful leaders reshaped Japan. Oda Nobunaga, who began the process, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who consolidated it, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, who completed it after winning the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600. Ieyasu became shogun in 1603, founding the Tokugawa shogunate, which ruled for over 250 years. The capital was moved to Edo, modern-day Tokyo, This era, known as the Edo period, was marked by peace, stability, and isolation. Japan closed itself off from most foreign influence under the policy of Sakoku, allowing only limited trade with the Dutch and Chinese. Culturally, it was a golden age. Urban culture thrived, giving rise to kabuki theater, ukiyo-e woodblock prints, and a rich literary tradition. In 1853, U.S. Commodore Matthew Perry arrived with gunships, demanding Japan open its ports. The resulting treaties shattered the Tokugawa regime's authority. In 1868, after a brief civil war, imperial rule was restored under Emperor Meiji. This Meiji restoration ushered in rapid modernization and industrialization. Japan adopted Western institutions, built railroads, and formed a modern army and navy. By the early 20th century, Japan had become a formidable power, defeating China in 1895 and Russia in 1905, a stunning upset in global geopolitics. In the 1930s, Japan pursued imperial ambitions. It invaded Manchuria in 1931 and launched a full-scale war against China in 1937. In 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, bringing the United States into World War II. The war devastated Japan. Cities were bombed, millions died, and in August 1945, the U.S. dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan surrendered shortly after, ending the war. Under Allied occupation, Japan underwent sweeping reforms. A new pacifist constitution was adopted in 1947, renouncing war. The emperor remained a symbol but no longer held political power. With U.S. aid and a dedicated workforce, Japan achieved an economic miracle. By the 1980s, it became the world's second-largest economy, known for its electronics, cars, and precision manufacturing. In recent decades, Japan has faced challenges: an aging population, natural disasters like the 2011 tsunami, and economic stagnation. But it remains a vital global player in technology, culture, and diplomacy. From ancient hunter-gatherers to samurai warriors, from imperial conquests to peaceful innovation, Japan's history is one of extraordinary change. It is a country that constantly reinvents itself, rooted in tradition, yet ever looking to the future. This has been the entire history of Japan in 10 minutes.